In this video, we're going to go over how to effectively use analytic accounts to streamline your financial reporting. In Odoo 16, many new features surrounding analytic accounts were released, which have made them that much more powerful. As a quick recap, analytic accounts can be used to track costs and revenue throughout your system and use them in your financial reports. Each function in Odoo can create an analytic line, which will be tied to an analytic account, which will then be tied to an analytic plan. And each of those can be reported on separately or as a whole. A common use case can be to track a specific job throughout many different applications, such as projects, manufacturing, sales, expenses, and purchasing. Or you can use them in the traditional sense, which we'll go over today, which is tracking the business unit, the project, and the business type. So what we're going to do is every sale order we make, we're going to select a business unit, we're going to select a project, and then we're going to select a business type. For business units, we're going to select B2B or B2C. For a project, we're going to select engineering or manufacturing. And underneath those, we're going to have individual projects that are tied to one of these subplans. For our business type, we're going to track new business or existing business. All of these tags are going to allow us to filter our profit and loss statement by any one of these tags, and then this will allow us to compare periods easily. So if we wanted to see our new versus existing business month over month in a specific year or period, then we can do that very easily when we use analytic accounts. So now we'll go into Odoo, we'll go into accounting. This is a brand new database. The only thing we've done so far is turn on analytic accounts under our settings, analytics, and checked analytic accounting. That allows us all the features that we need in order to use analytic accounts effectively. Under configurations, we have analytic distribution models, analytic accounts, and analytic plans. Let's first take a look at analytic plans. Odoo creates one for us by default, which is called default with an internal tag, and that's used for our internal projects. We're just going to make this one unavailable, and we'll leave it as is for now. Let's create a new analytic plan. We'll copy this and say it's going to be a business unit. And under our business unit, we're going to want to have two analytic accounts. We can create them under configurations, analytic accounts, or by clicking the smart button and clicking into analytic accounts. So we'll create them here. The first one is going to be B2B. We have several options, which is customer. So we can select a customer that this analytic account applies to. We'll leave it blank because we're going to use this for many different customers. Keep in mind, for a specific project, your analytic account will be tied to a specific customer. We can also give this a reference, which will be a text field, and this is automatically applied to our business unit because we created it from our business unit. We also have a smart button that links us to our gross margin for this particular tag. So let's save that and create a new one. And this one's going to be B2C. Let's go back to our business unit. As you see here, we have two analytic accounts that we created now, 0 subplans. So this is the highest level, which is business unit, and this one is not going to have any subplans. If we wanted a subplan, or we wanted this to be a subplan, we can set the parent right here under parent. Our default applicability, we're going to say is mandatory. And then we can set the applicability based on specific functions throughout the system. So if we want to say on sales orders, this is required, so we'll say mandatory. And we can change this to optional if we want, but on sales orders, it will be mandatory. We can also set it mandatory for specific product categories as well. So on a sale order, if you're selling a specific product category, this can become mandatory. The same thing is true for financial accounts. The next thing we're going to do is create our project plan. So we'll call this project. We'll also say it's mandatory for the sale order, and applicability will be mandatory. And let's create some subplans. So in these subplans, as we see here, we want engineering and manufacturing. So I'll create engineering. And we'll create manufacturing. So now we have our two subplans. We won't create any analytic accounts for our subplans just yet. The last thing we want to create is our business type. So let's create business type. And we want to create two analytic accounts there, which are going to be new business and existing business. All right, so we have all of our analytic plans and our accounts set up that we need for now. Let's just make this one mandatory. So we'll say on a sale order, we need to have this mandatory, and we'll just make sure the rest are completed accurately, and they are. So now let's move on to analytic distribution models. So we looked at analytic accounts and we created analytic plans. We're going to go into analytic distribution models and click create. And this is what's going to allow us to automatically set some parameters, which will autofill our analytic accounts for us. Not everything can be automated, but a lot can be. So some conditions we have here, if we have a specific partner set, then we can set an analytic distribution to apply. Same thing is true for a product category, an account prefix, a specific product, or product category. Excuse me, here this is partner category. And partner category is the one we're going to use today, and this is going to tie to our contacts app, which is going to take the tags on the contact app and automatically apply an analytic account depending on the tag that's on the partner. So if we look at our breakdown here, we see B2B and B2C. So what we're going to do is select these tags. So if it's B2B on the tags on the partner, then we're going to automatically apply B2B, and the same thing is true for B2C. So we're going to click on partner category. We don't have them created yet, so I'll just create them here. I'll create B2C. And the analytic account we're going to apply under our business unit is going to be B2B or B2C. So we can save that. And I'm just going to check to make sure that we have our analytic plans correctly set up. We do. Project is going to be mandatory. The business type is going to be mandatory. And a business unit is going to be mandatory. All right. So now if we go to our contacts, we'll create a new customer. We'll call this customer 1, and we'll just say B2C so that we know. And under tags, we can see that that B2C tag was selected or was created. We'll create another one. We'll call this customer 2, and we'll call this B2B. The tag is not created yet, but we can create it here and then use it inside of our analytic distribution models. So let's go into accounting again. We'll go into configuration, analytic distribution models, and we'll create one more. We'll say that when the partner category is B2B, then the analytic account to automatically apply for our business unit is going to be B2B. Now let's create a quick product. So let's go into inventory. We'll just create a generic service product. And we'll set the product type to be service. We can create some stuff on order, but we won't worry about any of this right now. We'll just set a sale price to $100. And let's save this. Now on a sale order, we're going to create a new sale order. We're going to select customer 1, B2C. And we're going to add our product, which is going to be services. And we're going to click our tab here to look at analytic. So these are our analytic tags. And if you see here, we have our business unit that has to be set and our business type that has to be set as well. So we can also set tags on our business type if we wanted to, so that we can set a tag on a customer, maybe automate that with automated actions and set either a new or existing business. So here I'm going to say this is a new business. And under our distribution, we do see a percentage. And this is especially helpful when we want to automatically apply or manually apply a certain percentage of this revenue or cost to a specific business unit or any other analytic plan that we want. So for example, if we were tracking costs across departments and we were creating a vendor bill and we wanted to allocate 50% to our services department and 50% to our sales department because maybe we were painting the office, we can easily do that by creating two lines here with 50-50 split between the two. So the next thing we want to do is create an analytic account for the entire project, and I'm going to create it on the fly right here. So I can call this, let me save this, and I'm going to create a new one here, and we're going to call this large project, and this is going to be for customer 1. So I'll click create and edit. And under plan here, you're going to see that we want to select We can select it in the parent project, or we can say, well, we know this is a manufacturing project, so I'm going to put it under manufacturing. And I can save and close that. And then under our analytic here, we can see now projects is available because we have an analytic account created for it. So now we see everything is set. If I remove that, you'll see that it's yellow because we need to set it. So I'm going to select large project. And now what we're doing is allocating all of our analytic accounts to this services. And each one of these is going to have that $100 tied to it. Now we can save this, confirm it, and we can create an invoice. And the invoice is when we're actually going to be creating those analytic lines. So I'll go ahead and confirm this invoice. And if we look at our journal entries, we're going to be tracking that product sales, B2C, large projects, and new business. So before we move any further, let's go into our accounting. We can look at our profit and loss statement, and we'll see some operating income for product sales, $100. And if we look at our analytic group by, we can group this by a specific plan. So if I want to see it by any one of these individual plans or a specific account, we can do that. So for example, if I wanted to say we only want to see business types, we can group this by business type. If we wanted to see a specific account, we can say B2B. We don't have anything for B2B. If we wanted to see B2C, now we can see our entire balance compared to B2C. So as we see here, 100% of our income so far was to B2C. So now let's create a new sale order. We'll call this B2B or customer B2B. We'll add our services. And as you see, we have some default lines here. We can select a project. I'll leave the projects blank for now. We'll create a new project. And we're also going to say this is new business. Under our analytic accounts again, we'll call this engineering project. We can create an edit. Under our plan, we'll select project/engineering. Save and close that, and maybe we sell 10 units this time for much more money, and we want to make sure we set that project, and this is our engineering project. So we can confirm this. We can create an invoice now, so let's just go ahead and create that and confirm. And now in our analytic accounts, again, we can see our profit and loss. If we wanted to remove that, and we can group it by, or we can see our plans for analytic account B2B and analytic accounts B2C. We see $100 in B2B and $1,000 in B2B and $100 in B2C, with a total balance of $1,100 in our income. We can also see it broken down by analytic account. So if we go into our configurations or accounting, we can look at our analytic items, and we see all of our different accounts that we've created. We can go ahead and group this by analytic plan if we wanted to, and then we'll see our business type. We'll see our project engineering here, business type, business unit, and all the different costs associated with each one. We have this nice grid view here where we can break it down by month and see all the different business units and how much income and costs were incurred for each one of these. If we go into our actual analytic account or even analytic plan, so if I click into our analytic plan and go into our projects, we can see our 2 analytic accounts inside of our projects, and we can see a nice breakdown of all of our debits and credits for each one of those accounts. And if we click into an account, again, it'll bring us to account, which will then bring us to the gross margin for all of the items that should be in this analytic account. So we've seen everything that we want to with sales. One thing I did want to show you is that we can actually save this and create a new analytic distribution model on the fly. So if you're creating it for the first time and you want to save this particular layout for a customer or partner, you can go ahead and select the partner and save and close this. And every time you use that partner, these will be the default tags and percentages used. We're not going to do that right now, but I just want to make that clear. We'll create one more sale order, and we'll say this one is B2B again for customer 2. We'll add some services. And under our project, we're going to select the same project. So it's going to be that engineering project. The business type is going to be existing business this time because this is a returning customer. We'll select the analytic account for the entire sale order as the engineering project. And we'll go ahead and save this and confirm, and we'll create that invoice. So we're just adding some more data that we can look at. The next thing I'm going to do is create another product. We'll create a product here. We'll just say that this is, actually we can use the services that we already did. So let's just create a new project here. We'll just call this engineering project. We can add some pipeline stages. And if we go into our settings here, and we can go into settings, we'll see our analytic account is engineering projects. We can select the customer. We can select the sale order line. So let's say this is for sale order number 3, and we can select an employee. So I'll select myself. We'll see a sale order item that we're billing to, and we'll see the unit price, and we can set the hourly cost here. This hourly cost is automatically pulled from the customer or from the employee record if you have one set. Otherwise, you can set it manually or override it manually. Just to take a look at where that's located, if we go into employees here and HR settings, whatever hourly costs we had will get pulled from here. So now under projects, I can create a new task. Let's call this test. Add this, and we'll build some time to it. So we'll go into timesheets here, and as the employee here, I'll say project planning, and maybe I build 2 hours, and we can save this. So now in the projects, if I go to project updates, we'll actually see that we've sold 1 unit of services, delivered 2 units of services, and have 1 unit invoiced. And under our timesheets, we have fixed price, $100 that we need to bill for, or $100 that we've invoiced so far. And for our costs here, we have timesheets minus $100 because we billed for 2 hours. So it's a total of $100. All of this is tied to the analytic account. The actual timesheet is created under the analytic account in a model called analytic account line. If we go into our analytic items, under our engineering project, let's remove that. Yeah, so under our engineering project, we see minus $100, and that is the quantity of 2 with a total amount of minus $100 for our partner customer 2 B2B with that analytic account. And this is unit of measure hours, and that's all tied to the analytic account that we created and the time that we billed against the project. So all of the costs for timesheets are going to be recorded for each one of our projects, specifically to the analytic account that we select on that project. Now we can also record expenses from purchase orders. So if we needed to create some purchases for a specific analytic account, we can do that as well. So let's call this vendor 1. And we'll just purchase a product. We'll just call this consumable product, and we'll create it on the fly. It's consumable. We'll save this. And if we click the extra settings here, we can look at analytic again. And for our analytic, we can set our business unit, our project, our business type as well. So here we're just going to select our project. So for business unit, we only care about revenues. For our specific project, we want to track costs. For our business type, we only care for sales. So we're going to select our engineering project here for our engineering project. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's set a cost price of $50. We can confirm this order, receive these products in, validate, and we'll create a bill. And this bill is what's going to be created, or what's going to create the analytic line entry. And we'll see that in our journal items for our expenses. And we see that analytic account automatically tied. So we've tracked costs in our projects, we've tracked costs in our sales, as well as in purchasing. You can do the same in manufacturing as well as expenses. So let's take a quick look at manufacturing. So if we had a manufactured product, so we'll create one here. We'll just say this is a manufactured product. And this is a very basic example. Under inventory, we're going to select manufacturer, and we can create a bill of material. So let's just create a raw material. We'll just update the quantities here. Let's say that we have 10. And we'll create a new manufacturing, or let's first create a bill of material for our manufactured product, which is going to take 2 raw material. And we can create a new manufacturing order, a very simple one. We'll call this manufacturing order, 2 raw materials. Under miscellaneous here, we can select the analytic account. So if we want to tie this to our engineering project here, we can go ahead and do that. We can confirm, and we can mark this as done. Now our analytic account is going to tie our manufacturing order, our purchase order, our vendor bills, all to that analytic account based on the analytic account that we set throughout the process here. And if we go to our gross margins, we'll see that we purchased a consumable product from PO number 1, and we have some revenue from our services. If we had automated inventory valuation turned on, then we can track the costs for these manufacturing orders, because each product move will create a journal entry which will have the analytic account tied to it. Now, finally, we're going to go through a couple more examples. The first thing I want to do is go into our analytic entries or analytic items. I'm going to clear this, and we're going to notice that for project planning, the description here, we actually set the wrong analytic account, and we can easily change this. So if I switch this over, I can say this is our engineering project, customer 2. And the same thing applies for all of our journal entries. So if I go to journal entries here, I can see all of our journal entries. We do see that we set some analytic accounts and tags throughout. If we made a mistake, we can simply select different lines and apply the analytic account that we want to apply and overwrite the ones that we did. I don't want to change any here, but I just wanted you to know that that is possible. Now, finally, we can go to our profit and loss statement. We can look at a specific analytic account. So if I wanted to see for our engineering project 2, we can see all of the expenses and income tied to that account. Or we might want to remove that, look at a specific plan. So we might want to look at our engineering projects as a whole. And maybe we also want to look at our manufacturing projects as a whole, so that we can compare the two. And if we had existing data in here for comparison over periods, we can look at a previous period and compare the previous periods to what we just accomplished. And this is a good way to look at projects over time, look at sales over time. So if we wanted to see our existing, we want to see our existing business versus our new business over each period, or the same period for each year. So our current period compared to previous years, we can easily accomplish that with a view and setup that we just did. So that is a brief introduction to the power of analytic accounts. Keep in mind, there's much more that you can do with this. We can use them in, again, manufacturing. We can set them on specific work centers in manufacturing to track costs just for a specific work center. We can use them in expenses to re-invoice or to know how much expenses we're tying to a specific project. Maybe we're traveling for a specific customer and we want to tie those expenses to a specific customer. We can do that as well within expenses. In automated inventory valuation, we'd be able to track more specific costs on manufacturing with all those different product moves that happen from consuming raw materials into producing a final good. And if you have made to order for a specific product, we can automate some of the process of selecting which analytic accounts belong where. But the end result is that we can simplify our reporting inside of our profit and loss statement and get really clear insights into what's happening throughout our business, utilizing analytic accounts, and automate some of that analytic account distribution using analytic distribution models.